So in the last session we understood how to make containers. Today we will be covering two more widgets, which are rows and icons. So let's start our Android Studio. I'm opening up the Android Studio, and let me open up our simulators as well. So your iPhone simulator as well as your Android simulator. Alright, good. So let's give it a couple of seconds before they all open up. As you know, along with the iPhone, we will also open up our iPad simulator. So iPad Pro 12.9 5th generation. So these are simulators we have been working so far. Alright, so this is our last program. Unfortunately, I think we didn't run it on all our apps, including the web. So before we move forward, let me show you how it looks on different simulators. Okay, so this is your Android, iPhone and iPad, and we will also run it over on Chrome. So let's run it on Android first. Okay, so it is compiling. It is compiling on your Google Pixel device, which is this one over here. So while this is compiling, depending upon your processor speed and how much system is your loaded and how much RAM and how fast is your disk, you may want to run it multiple simulators, or you may have to run it sequentially one by one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now run it on my iPhone as well. So this is our app and how the container looks like. As I told, we have to write the code once and it will look exactly the same on all the devices. So let's see how it looks like on my iPhone. If you want to compile the Chrome web browser as well, let's do that. Okay, so it is now ready to execute it on iPhone. So as you see, between your Android and iPhone, it looks exactly the same. Absolutely no difference. And while it is running on your Chrome web browser, if you want to see it on your iPad as well, nothing is stopping us. It's just a subject of how much system resources you have. That's it. Okay, so the two additional widgets which we need to cover today are rows and icons. So let's understand what our rows and icons are. Okay, so where is the Chrome? Has it opened? Yeah. So your iPad, your web, your iPhone and your Android seamlessly. And that's the beauty. Single piece of code running uniform on all those devices. Great. Okay, so maybe what we need to do is let it rest. Okay, before we do columns, just see this is column and it has 4 containers in it. So container 1, container 2, container 3 and container 4. So similar way, moving from this direction to this down, top to down is your columns, and moving from, let's say, left to right is your rows. Of course, rows you can move from right to left and left to right depending upon how you want to do it, and we will see. So how do we do it? So just like column is this widget. It starts with here and ends over here, and column has certain childrens. Similar way, a row will have certain childrens. So let's do one thing. Let's create a row, and within those rows we will also learn how to add additional icons like children like icons. So what I'm going to do is, between these children, between a column, I'm going to create a row. So for row, you have to write the widget row, and this will be a empty row, and between this empty row, just like normal column, it will be having children as well. So I'm going to define children inside it. So this is my empty row. It will have its own children, and sorry, spelling. So, and these are the empty children. So let's say, for the sake of discussion, if you want to put these two containers, I'm going to cut these two containers and I'm going to put it inside the row. So let's see what happens. So now the number of containers are same, but earlier there were 4 columns. So between these columns there were column 1, column 2, column 3 and column 4, but now there are no more 4 columns. Between this column widget we have 1 row widget and 2 container widgets. So which means this will be my column 1, this will be my column 2, and this will be my column 3. So if you want to see it how it looks like your iPad or iPhone or browser, let's say take your iPhone. So this is my iPhone Pro Max and I'm going to do a hot reload. Yeah, so as you see, these two containers are now in a row. So a row, this is first child of the row, this container is the second child of the row. So both will make one column. So this will be column 2 and this will be column 3. These two combined will make, you can say, children of a row, and this row is part of column 1. So that's how it is defined. And again, as I told, widgets can have nested widget. If you want to have a separate child of your own, so this is where row 1 finishes. I'm going to add one more row to already our widget of columns. So this will be my empty row, and just like row and column, they will have children. I'm going to give this row some children as well, and this will be empty children, and between these children's we can define icon, let's say. So I'm going to put a child, just like we put a child text. I'm going to put up a child named icon. So icon can have icons dot. So Android, you can say all mobile operating systems and web have predefined icons. So these are tons of icons available. You can choose any of them, right? There are multiple icons, and of course you can have your custom icons as well. We will define that when we go to images, how to do that. But let's say for the time being, let we just give it an icon of AC unit, and that's it. If you want to have multiple icons, just put icon and icons dot, give it a different icon this time. Anything you like. I want to give it an icon of ADB Android. You want to put up a camera icon. You want to have a plus icon. Any icon you like. I'll just put up a phone icon, and when I do hot restart, now over here, if you see, now it has 2 icons. Just like text can be styled, of course icons can be styled as well. Just put up your mouse on top of the icon and tells you can define a size, you can define color. So let's say I give it a size of what size you want, 24, and over here I give it a size of 16, and when we do hot restart, now it's a different icon. If you want to make it bigger, make it 40 and make this also 40, so it will be more so it has increased in size. Same way, if you want to define a color, we can define a color to it. So let's say you give this icon colors. This icon will be purple and this icon will be red. So let's do a hot restart. Yeah, so one is purple, one is red. Similar way, if you want to give it a blue color, give it a blue color. Very simple, very straightforward. So how it looks on your Android phone, hot restart. How it looks on your web browser, hot restart. How it looks on your iPad. Let's do a hot restart. So I'm doing a hot restart for all. So this is how it looks on the web. As you see, similar icons, similar look and feel, everything similar. Now one additional property which is there with the columns is, of course, you can define right to left. So let's say how it looks on your on your Android. So in case this is my Android phone, and between this, what I can do is I can define my text direction. So again, when you put your mouse icon on the row column, it will give you one property which is text direction of type text direction. So let's give it a text direction property, and it's of type text direction. And we can define text direction as, by default it is left to right. So if we define it right to left, so first icon is your AC icon and the second icon is your call icon. So now I have made it right to left, and if I do a hot restart, so again the columns have started from right, but again what you see is they have switched their position. Earlier on the left hand side was AC, and second hand side, if you see over here, the first is your AC and second is your call. But since I've changed direction, so the first thing which will get published is or rendered is your AC icon and then your call icon. There are more properties. If you want to give this upper row some more properties, we can do that. Now again the main axis of it, and if you want to give it a different alignment, we have another property, main axis alignment. And within main axis alignment, if you want to give it main axis alignment dot, so there are multiple properties which we can define. Let's say we want to give it at the end. So what will happen at the end when we do restart? So they have come. So this is your start point and this is your end point. So it has moved to the end, but they have not switched the position because I have just moved it to the right hand side, but I have not changed the text direction from right to left. If we have changed it from right to left, they have started from this side, but then instead of container 2 will be container 1 and container 1 will be container 2. They should also have switched the position. So whether you want to just put it on the right hand side or you want to right to left, that's the difference you need to understand. And just you don't want to be on the right hand side, you may want to have it equally spaced. So put it space around. So when you put it on space around, so these icons or these containers are now equally spaced. And if you don't want it to be equally spaced, you just want them to be at the center. Now they are at the center. So they have left equal space on the left and equal space on the right. But if you just want to be, you can say space, you can say evenly, or if when you put space evenly, as we have already seen, they are equally spaced. And if you put up space around, what will happen is they have kept a bigger space in the middle, and that's the alignment difference. Of course you need to practice it to understand what exactly is happening. So these are the spaces you can try around. If you put up space between, they have put up the entire space between them, and one is left aligned and another is right aligned. So these are the rows for you, and these are your icons for you. So what we have understood is that's how that these two containers, if you want to put them in a row, another way of doing it is just put up your mouse point on the widget, and you will see in Android Studio a yellow bulb. So when you click on it, it will tell you want to put this container in a row. If you want, just click on wrap it with row. So what it will do is it will put up this container inside a row, and when you compile it, nothing changes. It's just the alignment with respect to other containers, it has changed. But since this row contains only one container, nothing much is difference. But once you cut this container and put it inside this row, now eventually this is my row 1 which has two containers, this is my middle row which has two icons, and this is my first row which again has two containers. So now when I do hot restart, these two have come in the middle. Now again, what problem you have noticed? The problem you have noticed it has overflown on the right hand side. Same way, what will happen if we do it on your web browser? So this is the problem which this device is facing. This is my iPhone. If I execute it, again similar problem. this has overflown to the right because the device does not have enough space which these widgets are required, and it says it has overflown it. Of course, it's an issue, and in the programming we have to contain that, because phones and devices come with different shapes and sizes, with different you can say screen resolution, with different screen sizes, and hence our program should be flexible enough. So similar way, if I do it on Chrome, I face the similar issue, but over here no. Now you see, same things are happening, but different issues are behaving differently. This is showing me overflow problem, my Android is showing me overflow problem, but my Chrome browser is not showing an overflow problem. Let's see how it goes on your iPad. When I do a hot restart, iPad is perfectly fine as well. So what we have seen over here is different devices behave differently to a same, you can say, formatting, because of their different sizes. So let's see what happens if I put multiple columns between them. So I'm going to put up column 1, again column 2, column. I'm going to increase all these icons as columns, and when I do a hot restart, this hot restart will happen on your iPad Pro. These are the columns added. If you want to add more, I'm just going to put 4 more and paste it, and when I hot restart, absolutely no problem, neither via width, neither via height. So let's keep it aside. Now let's go on to web browser. So this is my web browser. Let's do a hot restart over this. So once you do a hot restart, so it was not giving a problem on width, but it is giving a problem on height. But your of course your browser is variable screen, and once you make the size substantial, it is not, but once you reduce, so browser has that advantage whereby I have to dynamically adjust my size based on the size of the window. So of course your devices, Android and iPad, can also show multiple window, and whereby they reduce will size, but those are advanced topic, we will cover that later. Let's see how it shows on this device, which is your iPhone Pro. So once I do a hot restart on iPhone Pro, it gives devices on both problem on both by height and width. So on this side it is saying that right overflow by 35 pixel and bottom overflow by 91 pixel. That's a problem, and if I want to run it on this device, which is my Android phone, I do a hot restart and it is also showing a problem. But as you see, this iPhone was showing that bottom overflow by 91 pixel, whereby the Android phone is showing bottom overflow by 309 pixel. So the number of pixels is also different, and the way number of pixels are different because the screen size between this iPhone and this Android emulators is different. So okay, so we leave this session. You probably should have understood what are icons and what are columns and what are rows. I have told you how to do mix and match, how to do certain transformations, how to have one widget can have nested widget via child or children property. And we also seen that if you are not very careful and if you don't test your app on multiple devices with different screen resolution and different sizes, what your challenge your customers can face. So we will cover that and how to handle that. And instead of is there a property whereby instead of defining the property by pixel, I can define the property by percentage. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is maybe I just allow what I want to do, and I also keep the size what I want to keep, but I give my user a scroll bar. So if it is using on, let's say, a smaller Android, it will come a scroll bar, and if it is using on iPad, until I don't expand my page further, they do not be shown a scroll bar. Same way on a web browser, if the web browser is big enough, no scroll bars are needed. But as soon as I minimize or shrink my browser window, then at the runtime, because the size has reduced, the scroll bars should show up. So I probably may, let's say, for the in a layman language, instead of having just one body, what we need to do is we put all these things in a single function, which is contained in it, and I have one more function which is maybe aligned for a different type of screen, and depending upon whether my screen is small or big, I can call different functions or different GUIs, because you may want to show a different GUI where your screen space is big so that you can show more interactive content to the customer. But if your screen size is smaller, you may want to show a different reduced amount of content for the ease of, you can say, not flood the screen with information. Alright, so we will cover that in advanced topics, and those topics are coming very soon. Till then, please like, share, subscribe, and pass it on to your friends who also want to learn Flutter. Thank you very much, and I see you soon. Peace.